Great intro.
Love that intro.
Yeah.
I worked hard on this intro.
Yeah.
Rusev Day every day?
It's Rusev Day every day.
Exactly.
And you're watching the Wrestling Connection.
You're watching Wrestling Connection.
And watch the Wrestling Connection.
You're watching the Wrestling Connection.
Freddie Mercury.
I don't think there's really much anything wrong with those videos.
I hear that women gain immortality from
I tried to get him on today.
What? Say.
Be connected, get connected, and stay connected, brothers.
Hello, Allison, and welcome to the
Be connected, get connected, stay connected.
Let's get the big, of course, with the official presentation.
Thank you.
Get connected, be evil, or die.
Be connected, get connected, stay connected.
That's where we're trying to consolidate them. And it was not been easy. And welcome to episode 282 of the most award-winning must-see talk show to ever hit Bedford Airways or any airways for that matter. North, south, east, west, backwards, frontwards, sideways, diagonal, any which way you look at it, brought to you all around the world. The Wrestling Connection. I am your host, the consumer of wrestling knowledge, the prize of the Wrestling Connection, the legacy team Kaufman, Dan Kaufman here to deliver all the news you need to know. And alongside me, a long time coming, the once-time wrestling god and forever always our wrestling technician, James. Welcome back to the show.
Glad to be back.
Awesome. So we are here because we have the pay-per-review, et cetera, for WWE and Hell in a Cell. And of course, this is our second week into the so-called Wednesday Night War from both AEW and NXT. And considering the fact that NXT is pretty much staying the course, they're bringing in the Imperium, so they have Walter. They brought back
Finn Balor.
Finn Balor is now on NXT. Breezango is still wrestling on NXT. And, of course, Goldie's proper owner, Tommaso Ciampa, has returned.
Yep.
Granted, not ready.
Daddy's home.
Daddy's home. Granted, not ready for physical combat just yet.
Yep.
But considering the fact that, apparently spinal stenosis is not as much of a crippling end gamer as it used to be, considering the fact they're talking with Edge about possibly getting another match, which is insane to hear.
Sheamus working on healing.
Sheamus working on healing. I mean, there actually could be some hope for Paige at this point. So that'd be
And
cool.
there's talk, I guess there's talks about Austin.
Yeah, Austin too. And there must have been some kind of breakthrough, because I had, all of a sudden, all these people.
I don't remember where I was reading, so I didn't want to quote the wrong source. But I think it was either Edge or it was Austin who was saying stem cells.
Stem cells. Well, if that's true, that'd be great to have them back.
Yep.
As for AEW, this is their second week in a row for Wednesday Night Dynamite. This one in Boston. Which I was not aware of until the day before. That hurt my soul. Especially when we finally found out about the Inner Circle. So we got Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and former LAX?
LAX, yep.
Yeah.
Ortiz and Santana.
And they are apparently Chris Jericho's first stable. Apparently he's been in tons of tag teams, but he's never actually been a part of a full stable. And he is, of course, the ringleader.
Yeah, that's right. He's never been in a stable.
Yeah, is very impressive considering how long and storied his career has been. But yeah, no, Wednesday was a lot of fun. You had the women tag match with B. Priestley, Britt Baker, Rio.
Although, unless you would consider like the Invasion Angels two stables, but.
I wouldn't really say that. I mean, it's possible, but that's more like two brands as opposed to two factions. You had the Darby Allin versus Jimmy Havoc.
Yes.
Shawn Spears versus John Moxley. And, of course, we had, as the main event, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus
Dustin Rhodes
Dustin.
and
Hangman Page.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, we can say Dustin Rhodes because he goes by Dustin Rhodes.
yeah.
It's not like Cody where he has to go by Cody.
Eventually that should change. Eventually,
Oh,
I think.
that'll definitely change soon. Hopefully.
Dustin, part of the faction known as the Rhodes family.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've been having great matches. Chris Jericho is getting to talk as much as he wants to talk. And the show ended with pretty much with the Darby Allin coming out on a skateboard.
Yeah.
So, not exactly stuff you'd normally see.
Yeah.
So,
And they, going back to the stable thing, they actually did not censor Chris Jericho.
yeah, they did not censor it. They allowed it to go. So,
right.
bravo to TNT.
To TV 14.
TV 14 allowed. You know, I remember where a lot of words were you were not allowed to use back in my day, and apparently now they're just letting it go.
Yep.
I think South Park. How many times did they say that word on that episode? Like 250-something times?
The S word, not as much as they use the F word.
No, there's a specific episode where they do not censor the S word, and because of that, they say it over 200 times. I think the episode is called "When It Hits the Fan."
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think the episode is like people are starting to say this word more often now, and because of that, you know, some kind of curse was happening.
Or
Regardless.
might have been the Tourette's episode.
Oh, God, that episode.
Yeah.
I actually have Tourette's, or at least I had Tourette's. Ooh, that one hit pretty bad. All right, moving on. We do have to talk about Hell in a Cell. And for a lot of people, myself included, I could consider this picture the before the Hell in a Cell main event to after the main Hell in a Cell main event. But we will get to that. That is the final match. But we started with the kickoff, which is Natalya versus Lacey Evans in their still going feud, which hopefully ended last Monday with the last man standing.
Yeah.
Last one standing. But as I mentioned on the last show, this card, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, more than half of it was matches put together on on the day of the show. We had no idea about a lot of these matches. So this one feels thrown together because apparently it needed to be there. So it was put on the kickoff. And surprise, surprise, it was about who could put the sharpshooter in first and best, and it turned out to be Natalya.
Go figure.
What do you mean that Natalya won with a sharpshooter? I mean, they really haven't done much with getting Lacey over. The fact that her gimmick alone is the sassy Southern Belle, that alone already ruins it. If they had her actually come out as a Marine, you know, the thing she actually is,
Yeah.
I think she would have gotten over far more. And the women's right would have been a more understandable finisher, as opposed to what they have her doing now.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about the match? I mean, I'd understand if you don't. It's not much of a match.
Not really. I really wasn't paying attention to that match.
Yeah. All right.
Didn't draw my interest.
Now for what would, and was many considered the best match of the night, and it was the first match of the main card. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks inside Hell in a Cell. This match was nuts.
This match was crazy.
And that's what I was really hoping for from these two.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, with Sasha coming back, I remember her matches with Charlotte.
Especially the ones in the cell.
I even said, you know, I really hope that this time they actually get to go through the table instead of just bouncing off of it.
Yeah.
Which, they definitely did. Meteora through a table, setting up the chair on top of kendo sticks with the running drop kick off of the apron. Kendo stick shots, chair shots, table shots, the Super Bexploder onto a bunch of chairs. meteors everywhere, multiple bank statements.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And in the end, Becky manages just barely, like I said, with that super Bexploder leading into the disarmor to get the victory. Not even mentioning the fact that the match happened right before the cell even landed.
Yeah, yeah, it was being lowered and Sasha attacked.
Mm-hmm. Which was definitely a smart thing to do. Use every chance you had. So, what do you think about the fact that the best match of this night was the first match of the night?
It's definitely no question. The women have definitely been putting on a great show. They've been proving why especially with Mania being the first women's main event.
Very true.
They're definitely proving that they definitely belong.
Absolutely. Becky has remained the women's champion for Raw for a long time, and it's obvious why. You know, even if they fail a little bit on her character at times, the fact that her matches are always hard-hitting, you know, throw it all out there kind of style matches is great, and it shows the fact that the women can stand far ahead of the men, because if the fact that the best match of the night is a women's match, it tells me that the guys kind of need to step it up a bit.
Yeah.
So I say kudos to them. I feel bad that Sasha lost, considering the fact that she just came back from not even being sure she wanted to stay in the WWE. So,
But from a marketing perspective, you can definitely see why.
Oh, absolutely.
You want your champion, who's your cover athlete, to be your champion.
The fact that she's still the cover girl for 2K20. Yep, 100%. That's why I kept saying I don't see anyone beating her for a while. I thought Sasha might do it, but nope. All right. So next,
she should have it by herself, but oh well. You gotta put Roman on there too.
Well, to be fair, Roman really hasn't done much in terms of being in a main event picture,
since he left,
which I think is
good.
Yeah, like no one's really getting.
He had that little one-off feud with the McMahons, and then
he really hasn't done anything to stay in the limelight, which people actually have responded to in kind. They really haven't been booing him much lately, except for the standard fare of let's boo him because we can.
Yeah.
But that leads to this match.
Before we move on, what do you Shane McMahon getting fired?
I feel that's only temporary.
I bet he's gonna come back at Crown Jewel or something.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
The thought of him being fired is all well and good, but a McMahon is never gone for long.
No. I mean, look, he left already for 8 years. Or 7 years.
Yep.
One of the two.
So if he stays gone for like 2 years, then people will pop for him. But Vince isn't gonna be around forever. Oh God, can you imagine if when he goes to the XFL and Triple H takes over, Triple H is like, no, Shane, we don't need you.
Go, you can have 205 Live.
You can have 205. Second thought, no, 205 Live is now being a part of NXT. NXT is my thing. Everything is now my thing. Why don't you go Superstars?
Main event.
Main event. Shane McMahon run.
Saturday morning slam.
We'll bring back In Your House just for you.
Sunday Night Heat.
You could be a commentator on that
Velocity.
one. Oh God, Velocity. Ooh. Oh, that's a bad one. We have a special channel for you. WB. Going to WB just for Saturday mornings only. All right. Moving on. We do have Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan teaming up. I do believe this is for the first time. Just these two.
Well, yeah.
Versus.
I mean, it was built for the first time.
Yep. Versus Eric Rowan and the returning Luke Harper, the Bludgeon Brothers 2.0. And as expected, it is a big guy fight with one small dude who knows how to wrestle.
Yeah.
So I was super happy to see Luke Harper finally wrestling like he knows how to wrestle. And there's the fact this is a tornado tag match, which means that all 4 guys are able to do stuff instead of just waiting around.
They don't need a tag.
Yeah. So it tends to be 2 guys in the ring, 2 guys on the outside, and if one of them gets taken out, and then it'll be a 2-on-1 situation.
Yeah.
Which happened multiple times here. We had a spear through an announce table to remove Eric Rowan. And then we had, for Luke Harper, a Superman punch to a flying knee to a spear to beat Luke Harper. So, welcome back, Luke Harper.
Welcome back, Luke Harper.
And then they had the Team Hell No hug it out scenario.
Yeah.
So, it was definitely a fun match. Definitely very crazy at the end. But what are your thoughts on the match?
Definitely fun. I definitely think they overbooked it just a tad. But overall, it was still a good match. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, like you don't really need to have an incredible match. All you need to do is have something that people can just get behind and enjoy, which is definitely what they did here. I'm curious what they're going to do from this point, because Rowan and Harper basically were soundly defeated. I mean, they could split them up into singles feuds. Maybe they'll have the Daniel Bryan versus Eric Rowan and Roman versus Luke. That'd be an interesting way of continuing it. That's if they even have enough time for it, considering all the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, because Daniel Bryan's obviously back to being a face.
Yeah. No, yeah.
You can't have him as a heel too long.
It's true. Which, it's kind of sad, because when he turned heel, it was amazing.
It was perfect.
The Planet's Champion belt.
Oh, yeah.
But with
that looked cool.
It did. It looked real. It was fresh. It was something that
tried several times to try to create that belt in 2K19.
Yeah, it's just
I finally caved and downloaded it.
It's one of those things where a new idea can get you a very, very long way in WWE, especially if they let it go on their way. Which is why Bray Wyatt's Mean has been getting so much traction up to a point. So
the Firefly Funhouse.
Firefly Funhouse is still great.
That's endlessly entertaining.
I've been rewatching them all so many times. All right, next up, another match that was made on this night, which was Orton versus Ali. And here's a picture of the standout part of the match, which was Ali countering an RKO by going into it and then just doing a handstand so he doesn't hit the mat.
Yeah.
Which no one has ever done before, and I don't think anyone will do since.
I mean, RVD used to spike himself, but that's RVD.
RVD is one of those masters of selling. You know, so you got him, Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler. Ali is actually pretty good at making things look like they hurt. So, all in all, it was a decent match. You know, Orton does what he does, which is slow a match down. Ali does what he does, which makes any move that was done on him look like it hurt like hell, which is fitting for the pay-per-view. And despite the one stoppage of the RKO, it didn't stop the second one, where Orton did pick up the victory.
Out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah. Always out of nowhere to get the good victory.
Yep.
I mean, standard fare, this is pretty much a blow-off to a feud that happened before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They decided to rekindle this one just because Orton's
we
like...
need something.
Yeah, we needed something. Orton's just, you know...
match.
I'm the reason you got hurt. You lost out on maybe a WrestleMania opportunity because of me. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. But hey, don't. A lot of rekindled feuds really end up being good matches.
They can, absolutely.
Orton versus Punk.
Oh yeah, Orton versus Punk was definitely
Punk
great.
kick.
But it seems lately that a lot of Orton's feuds have been because of rekindled things. He just came off the Kofi feud.
The Kofi feud, yep.
So he needed a way to look strong again, and I guess Ali was the victim for that. So, you know, we'll see where Ali goes from here. I can't really think of what else he might do. He'll probably stay on SmackDown. Who knows? Maybe he'll be one of those people who can go between SmackDown and
the draft
NXT.
is tonight. So.
I know, the draft is tonight. I'm hearing that Heyman wants Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black on Raw.
Interesting.
If those two go over and they're
He does like Cedric Alexander, though,
Yep, he likes Cedric Alexander. And
which is good for him.
and
I think he's trying to create his new SmackDown 6. Which is good for whoever's in that SmackDown 6, because look at the SmackDown 6. They all became world champions.
very true. That is a very interesting way of looking at it. You know, I could definitely see, you know, Buddy Murphy, Seth Rollins, Aleister Black, at least just those three being in the top tier. You know, they seem to have lost interest in Braun Strowman really doing stuff.
Yeah,
So
at least him being a world champion. Which I like Braun, but yeah,
I'd
it
like
kind of phase away from Vince's.
every single time you think Braun has a chance to go the distance, it stops, and eventually everyone's just going to stop thinking that he does, because you all know what he's becoming. He's becoming Kane. When Kane first appeared, everyone thought he was a monster, and he would get as far as he needed
He
to.
destroyed everybody. He destroyed everybody, and
And then
he
he's
became a comedy character.
yeah.
Don't
Which-
box.
Don't. I will send you to hell.
My name is Kane.
And then the Canaanites.
Yeah.
He will never outlive the Canaanites. All right, next match we have the women's tag match, which is Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss defending their titles against Kairi Sane and Asuka. And lo and behold, the Kabuki Warriors are now heel. Came out speaking in Japanese, which in WWE terms means they're heel. And there was eye pokes. There was the green mist, which leads to a meme which you've been enjoying quite a bit, which we don't need to mention here. Hulk, sorry. But in the end, Asuka and Kairi actually are now our new women's champions. So, how do you feel about Alexa and Nikki finally being finally get the belts taken away from them?
Well, as much as I love Alexa Bliss, and I did love Nikki Cross as well, I love this tag team. But it was time. They had a nice little run, and it's time. Kabuki Warriors need their
chance
some
to
stuff with the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah,
And I loved old school heel to Jerry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I'm okay with this, despite the fact that Alexa Bliss has always been up there with one of my favorite female competitors right now. We were at a point where
Not to mention she's your name twin.
I know the fact that her real name is Alexis Kaufman. It still boggles my mind.
Yeah.
But the fact is that this was at a point where there really were no real challengers. The Kabuki Warriors have been off camera for so long that we really forgot about them. So what did that leave? Fire and Desire, Iconics, and then maybe another thrown together tag team if they decide.
Boss and Hug, but they're in the...
Boss and Hug literally just came back,
Yeah.
considering the fact Sasha has been gone. And to be fair, Boss and Hug destroyed Nikki and Alexa, but it was a non-title match.
Yeah.
So it leaves the picture open for Boss and Hug to actually come back into contend for the belts again anyway.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we saw very recently that Tamina is back.
I missed that.
Yeah, Tamina was a 24/7 champion for a very small amount of time.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So all that needs is Nia Jax to return from injury, and then we have another tag team right there.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that we have
Snoo.
the fact that the Kabuki Warriors are now the champs, and the fact that they are very well respected in NXT means that we could finally have that planned, going between all brands,
Yeah.
which was what was supposed to happen. It was even announced when the belts came out, and just never came through.
Yeah, well, I mean, NXT should be considered the third brand.
I feel with the Fox deal, it will be, especially since all three nights are actually now on TV.
You're talking with the second after the Fox deal with SmackDown.
Yeah, I feel
Gets completely rolling, and we're good. And then
either that or the belts are going to go away, and I feel that's a bit of a shame.
that would be a shame. Yeah, a lot of hard work they did
Yeah,
for the women's revolution.
absolutely. I don't really know what Nikki and Alexa are going to do after this. They might fall into the back of the card for just a little bit, but they've been in the forefront for a good while now.
A feud might work.
Oh, absolutely. Between the two of them? Mm-hmm. I feel that maybe an attempted rematch with the Kabuki Warriors and a failure might have Alexa finally snap on Nikki, and Nikki goes nuts on Alexa.
Yeah. Well, there's really no guaranteed rematches anymore, so
It's
you
true.
can't really.
That is true. They'd have to fight for it.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we were just talking about Braun. We had the Viking Raiders with their mystery partner of Braun Strowman versus the OC. And this was the end of the match. Yeah, AJ does not look like he's going to be having a good night. In the end, Braun Strowman goes over with a punch so he can have his feud with Tyler Fury.
Yep.
So, in the end,
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury, my bad. In the end, the OC and even the Viking Raiders are backdrops to a feud that they're making sure is front and center so they get more ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense from that standard, but it doesn't change the fact that it does kind of sell the other short. Because it was literally just tag Braun runs around, runs into everybody, and then punches AJ out of the sky.
Yeah. AJ sold it beautifully.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But it is AJ Styles.
AJ knows how to sell. AJ takes a
You've
stunner.
done 20, almost 30 years.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason why people still call AJ the best in the world. He doesn't have to show it every single night. He just has to show it in his selling. He just goes like, where am I?
Yeah.
So, if you want a feud to look, if you want Braun Strowman to look strong, have AJ not know where he is after it.
AJ or Dolph.
AJ or Dolph. That'd be interesting if you punch Dolph hard enough where he does a roll, like he rolls backwards and then flies out of the ring.
Oh, I love his sell jobs.
Oh, I still love his monkey flip with Kofi.
Yeah.
The extra flip into the faceplant. So as you can see, this match isn't really much to talk about. We've already kind of passed it and talking
It was
about
just a
stuff.
knockout punch.
It was a knockout punch. He's the Big Show now.
Which is good.
He can use it, absolutely. His running power slam is also good. But in the end, and this stinks because War Machine were huge outside of WWE. They barely get a reaction now.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
Disappointing because I love him.
Huh? Because they were the Viking experience.
Yeah.
They're not. They were branded as a Disney attraction ride.
Yeah.
And now that they're out doing what they need to do, nothing. They do not. They do not know how to book them, and it suffers.
It's sad.
Like, I'm honestly excited to see what they do with Authors of Pain, because what they're doing right now seems very interesting. So
Yeah.
it sucks, especially with tag teams. A lot of the tag teams
Vince doesn't
are
like
getting
tag
bored now.
teams.
No, he hates tag teams. We're waiting for Vince to leave. We're almost at the end of 2019. We want to see what
It's a miracle that the Hardys, Dudleys, they all.
they did that in spite of Vince.
Yeah.
All right. Well, regardless, next up, another rematch. Not as good as the first match. Shorty Gable versus King Corbin.
Shorty Gable versus the Olive Garden server.
Yes. What would you like for your meal? A nice dose of pain.
Nice end of days.
Please come again.
Fresh pepper?
How much cheese do you want? Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable. These two actually have really good chemistry. It's a match I do not mind seeing more than a few times. But when the first match that they had was as good as the King of the Ring finals, it's going to be very hard to top.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That was a very good match.
I especially love the finisher where it was literally flipping Gable as many times as it takes until he gets him into the end of days position.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's pretty obvious the fact that when you see someone as small as Chad Gable, you know the only way he's going to beat a bigger guy is if it's a surprise roll up.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly have gotten very tired of that. Because how's Rey Mysterio going to beat Samoa Joe? Surprise roll up.
Mm-hmm.
How's Chad Gable going to beat Baron Corbin? Surprise roll up. I mean, Daniel Bryan is supposed
to. That's how Ray. I forget who it was. He beat somebody. Somebody big.
Kane, Big Show.
No, because it was on SmackDown. And it was like early SmackDown.
Mark Henry.
Might have been Rikishi actually. But I don't remember. He rolled them up and. Anyways.
Chad Gable has a lot of finishers. The ankle lock.
It was Albert.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Before he became A-Train.
All aboard the pain train. Chad Gable has the ankle lock. Chad Gable has the Chaos Theory suplexes.
Yep.
I would like to see him get those. The ankle lock specifically. It would have been.
He's a Kurt Angle guy.
He is.
He should use the ankle lock.
The fact that they basically said he's too small, that even a grapevine will not keep Baron Corbin in the middle of the ring. He could still drag him around.
Yeah.
I would personally try and find a new way to use ankle lock if it's not going to be enough. Because me personally, I'm just tired of roll-ups. Yeah. Roll-up victories from small guys on big guys.
Especially he's a technician.
Yeah.
He needs that submission. Look at, I don't want to mention his name, but Kurt Angle and the other guy, they all use submissions.
Does his name start with Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Chris.
Redfield. That would have been interesting to see Chris Redfield wrestling today.
Yeah.
He runs away from the zombie from the revived ECW show.
As a wrestler out of this world, one of my top, in my tops, the top 5. Actually, top 3.
Ooh.
As a man, don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
it's true. It's
can't really see. I mean, you can't really promote him. Even look at Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle stated, Jericho stated, they can't put him in DVDs. Some of their best matches they can't put on DVDs because of him. Because it's not right to promote him.
I think they still at least have his triple threat with Triple H and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, his matches are on the network. They're
not allowed to promote it.
They don't mention his name.
They just say it's a triple threat with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Or his match against Kurt Angle at Royal Rumble. It's Kurt Angle in a singles match.
Yeah. It is what it is. I grew up on them. It's it sucks for me too. We got on a big tangent. Regardless, Chad Gable, who they kept referring to as Shorty Gable, has officially won. And the fact that Chad didn't even chastise him, saying, "You can call me Shorty, I don't care," which is the dumbest thing to ever say. Which means now his name is officially going to be Shorty Gable.
Yeah.
Which is the worst.
Which actually, with this win, it actually sets up for a rubber.
Yeah.
The rubber match.
The rubber match. Shorty Gable, my eyes are set on you. Now, for the penultimate match, which I wouldn't call much of a match at all, honestly. You have Charlotte defeating Bayley to become the, 10-time women's champion?
Yeah, I think so.
Ugh. Well done to Charlotte. They're not all going to be winners. But
horribly, but whatever.
Bayley, I said this before, and this is just proof of it. In terms of the 4 horsewomen, she is so far below the other 3. Every time they try booking it, she is always the weakest link.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand in a way why. Her character is not going to get over with fans as much as the other 3.
Especially as a heel, he can't use this character as a heel.
You could. They just didn't really have the opportunity to know how. If you really want to know how to book this character, Bayley, Bo Dallas, when he first started.
Yeah.
People love me.
People love me.
All you have to do is believe. Have your positively be obnoxious.
Yeah.
Which she was trying to do at the beginning. It's like, come on, I know you all want my big flappy fun flyers. Here they are. Flailing Tube Man. You know, so she was getting there, but they never had her character express it in the ring, which was annoying. Have her be the cheap heel. What happened? The Clash of
They gave her a little
Champions.
shove, but they forgot to switch on the rocket boosters.
Yeah. What happened at Clash of Champions I thought was perfect. Literally getting destroyed, and while there is a chance where they're not looking, she undoes the bottom turnbuckle pad, slams Charlotte's head into it, and gets the quick win and runs out. That was brilliant for her.
That was amazing.
It was perfect. And now they're just... No, we're just going to put the belt on Charlotte again. I mean, we have our new show on Fox now. We can't have a weak-looking champion. We have to have a strong
You
champion.
have to have a flair.
We have to have a Flair. Which is interesting considering the fact on Raw they had Ric Flair. So there's a Flair on both shows.
They had two fossils, Flair and Hogan.
Yep.
Sorry, Flair.
Sorry, Flair, not sorry, Hogan. I'm sorry. Hogan's talking about having another WrestleMania match.
Against Vince.
Ugh.
Which, if
Kickoff
he
show.
did, that should be the only person he could do it. Which they already saw it, and it was a great match.
It was. How many years ago?
03, so yeah, almost 18 years.
16 years ago.
Yeah.
It would be 17 because the WrestleMania is next year. Ugh.
Yeah.
That is not something I'm looking forward to. In the end, Charlotte, boot to the face, figure eight, 1-2, tap out. We have a new champion, and Bayley's on the floor crying. Mm-hmm. Typical.
Which is the booking on that match, especially with Charlotte winning. It was so one-sided.
I remember when Bayley actually beat Charlotte the first time the two of them wrestled each other on the WWE main roster.
Yep.
And then they had their WrestleMania match, which Bayley won again. And then lost to Alexa Bliss, and then just never recovered. And I mean never. We're here. We are here.
Let him in.
Oh, he was let in. And then they were just like, welcome in. We're about to do to you what we do to everyone else. All right, so
Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
this match very, very closely ruined the mystique of the Fiend. And I don't like saying that but on the show before this, I looked dead in the eyes of the screen. I said, don't you ruin this for me. Don't you ruin the Fiend. And honestly, I feel the Fiend could recover. I do.
I do too.
But this match did no favors. The idea of what the Fiend is Jason Voorhees, essentially. You can hit him with stuff, but he will still come after you. The problem with this match is the fact that they literally decided to remove all offense from the Fiend and just let him become a damage sponge. Nothing will keep him down. No,
I get that.
I do, and people kept popping every time he kept getting up. But the issue is that you can't just keep having him get up to get pushed back down. Get up, push back down. Get up, push back down. And then he stays down long enough for Seth to start wailing on him with everything, including unprotected shots to the head, which I know is modified to hit the mat more than the head.
It was probably a gimmick chair. Yeah,
It was a gimmick chair, and yet apparently Bray still got a concussion.
well, Cody got a concussion
Yeah.
with his gimmick chair too. So
Yep.
they're
Not surprising.
100%.
Got ladder. Hit him with the ladder.
Yep.
Toolbox. Hit him with the toolbox. And then,
Looked like he got him in the head there too.
yeah. And then the sledgehammer.
Yep.
And the ref, for the second year in a row, called the match off. Second Hell in a Cell main event in a row where the match was thrown out for one reason or another. In a Hell in a Cell where there's supposed to be no disqualification.
No rules.
They call it Hell in a Cell because it's supposed to literally destroy each other to get to the end.
It's supposed to be hell.
And yet, Brock Lesnar's interference last year threw the match out between Roman and Braun. And now, Seth, ignoring the ref to hit The Fiend with a sledgehammer, made the ref go, "You've gone too far. Lift the cell. This match is over. The fans don't get an actual resolution."
We actually heard AEW chants.
Restart the match. AEW. BS. All the things that you would expect to hear. To the point where Brazzers, of all sites, actually tweeted to WWE saying, we can help give you we can help you understand how to write coherent storylines with a satisfying conclusion. Mm-hmm. Which apparently they took
and they even posted a job listing for creative writers. Sorry, Dewey Foley.
It's very frustrating when you see such potential, especially after the SummerSlam, where The Fiend literally destroyed The Fiend. And I said it was written perfectly, where The Fiend literally destroyed
Finn Balor.
Fiend destroyed Finn Balor. Finn Balor got a little bit of offense in,
Not much.
a small amount of offense, and then falls into the finish, the conclusion.
Which was the Mandible Claw.
Yep. I would have.
I get it. It's only the Fiend's second match. It's not ready for the title.
That's the thing. Don't put him in the title shot if you're not ready to give him the belt. They literally removed any chance that there could have been some kind of interference. When there was no way seen possible for the match to get swayed because of outside interference of some kind, then it was clear that The Fiend was going to win or that something terrible was going to happen. If you don't have a proper idea, don't put him in the match. The Fiend does not look like a person who cares about the belt.
No.
He doesn't. Absolutely not. So let him destroy more people. Finn Balor was a really good start. Put Ali in next. Put Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
Guys who look small compared to the stature of The Fiend, but wry enough to get away from him. Chad Gable.
Chad Gable. Get some stuff. Bring Kurt Angle back for a little 2-minute match.
Mm-hmm. Kurt Angle. AJ.
AJ. Although AJ's heat.
Well, no. You put it in. You put AJ or Daniel Bryan or any of those guys who look like they could have a chance because we know how skilled they are, and they still lose.
Mayor Kane.
Mayor Kane, Baron Corbin, King Corbin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, because we did do Test versus Brock in the King of the Ring, I believe.
yeah. Like, an idea I would have had for Hell in a Cell is have The Fiend chuck Seth, actually get them go through the cell, and Seth actually gets terrified enough he flees.
Oh, we can't do that. You know, what are the kids are watching?
The kids are watching that mask right there.
I know. This is Vince's logic that we're thinking, right?
This is a disaster, and you know that they
I'm
didn't
grateful,
really
Vince, but please,
Yeah.
step away. Enjoy your life.
enjoy XFL. There were good matches in this card, this pay-per-view, but they are stifled by this. No one's going to remember the Charlotte Bayley match. No one's going to remember the Braun and OC six-way tag. They're going to remember Sasha and Becky, maybe Roman and Daniel versus the Bludgeon Brothers, and this. And which one do you think they're going to talk about more?
This, the bad.
Ugh. So, for the second year in a row.
I was talking on the forum. It's like,
Ooh.
I was literally talking on the forum, and
Yes.
they were literally talking. Oh, it was a good pay-per-view so far. And then the Fiend Bray.
Yeah, you asked me, like a few matches in, what I think of the show, and I'm just like, interesting results.
Yeah.
Sasha had just lost. The Bludgeon Brothers really weren't getting far. So I'm like, it's interesting results. Yeah, it doesn't really mean much, but there's still more pay-per-view to go, and that's what we ended up with. Mm-hmm. And this apparently seems to be the end of our show because our camera seems to have cut out. we have vanished. So, thank you for joining me. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry that the camera decided to cut away from us, but we still got our mics, so we're definitely still being heard.
It's just a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast. Nothing wrong with podcasts. Podcast lets us do this whatever we want. Next time I'll show up without a shirt. Podcast only.
Glad to be back. Hope to do a couple more shows.
Absolutely, the door's always open to you coming back. All right, and we'll have more. We'll definitely be farther into AEW and NXT going to war with each other, so we'll definitely have more to talk about there. I'd imagine Nyla Rose is going to have more of a presence since the transgender aspect will be there. Chris Jericho.
We're definitely not going to have the Young Bucks as the first champs.
Yeah, that was surprising.
That was surprising.
I'm glad to see that because the Young Bucks can basically have matches with anybody and have a good time. So allowing another tag team to become the first champion is definitely going to be great.
Tag team. They're 100%.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like we know the Young Bucks don't actually need the belts. They'll just have a great match regardless.
They can have with anybody. They can have another match with Cody and Dustin.
Proof of that was the match they had with Private Party. I never even heard of those guys before this, and that was great. So.
They can have matches with SCU.
Soulcon Uncensored.
Or Fortune, or what was their other name?
There's too many.
Yeah, too many. Ego.
Ego. All right. Well, that will bring us to the end of this episode. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will definitely have James come back, and when we do, there'll be tons more to talk about. But until then,
play us out, Kermit.
Play us out, Kermit.
I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to